But we want to do a highlight video here of the Stanley Cup Finals, now tied at 1-1. Tampa Bay, this number is popping for Wednesday night now as we're recording. They're a $1.55 favorite out there in the marketplace to win Game 3 and take a 2-1 series edge. The series price, I believe I saw minus 185, minus 190 right now for the Lightning to lift the Stanley Cup. Through 2 games here so far, Brian, what are you thinking about this series?
Looks like it's going to be a long series. I think it's pretty evenly matched. The one thing that was apparent for Tampa Bay coming in here, they were kind of similar to Vegas in terms of, a lot of firepower, at least on paper, but they were just having a hard time scoring goals against teams like Columbus and the Islanders. Last night, the total was 5. I know I was having a debate with Stevie Slapshot, does Vegas Hockey Hotline with me. He liked the under. I liked the over. Well, it ended up being a push. But my thing was Tampa Bay's going to circle the wagons. They are going to jump on these guys. I think they'll be up 2-0, maybe 3-0 after one. Sure enough, it ended up being 3-0, and then Dallas would have to open things up and chase the game. You got it to 3-2. I was safer than he was. He got it to 3-2 with a chance for the empty netter to get you the W. It ended up being a push. As the series goes along, though, I think goals will be harder to come by. Both of these goalies are playing at a high level, and Dallas gets their goals on power plays and in transition. We'll see if Stamkos comes back in. I just think Dallas is this team that's kind of on a Tootsie roll. I mean, I give them full marks. I mean, they were down 3-0 in that game, and Tampa Bay was life and death to hang on to beat them. And again, I say this a lot. I learned a lot about a team, even in defeat. They didn't pack it in. It's like, okay, it's not our night. They came back at them, just like the Islanders did, not an ounce of quit in Dallas. And Dallas is a really interesting counterpunch kind of team. This is a coin flip now. Honestly, I think for sure, I think we're going 6, and through 2 games, I could see this being a 7-game series. And I wouldn't be laying a big number with either side. I know it's Tampa, but I wouldn't be laying a big number.
Well, the thing I've really appreciated about Dallas here is that they've been able to adjust to all of the opponents that they've had here in the playoffs. They've had to play a wide open game at times. They've done that. They've played their defensive style that carried them through the regular season when they've had to. They've been, they've been very adaptable here in the playoffs, and I give them a lot of credit for that. Tampa, they just do what they do, and they do it very, very well. They do it almost flawlessly more often than not. And that's what you sort of wonder now with this Game 3, where Tampa, didn't play well early in Game 1, really suffocated Dallas throughout the second half of that game, just couldn't get the goals they needed to tie it up. Then yesterday, they get that big 3-0 lead, as you said. They kind of sit on it. Dallas gets some things going offensively, makes it a game. You wonder here about Game 3 and which team is able to make the better adjustment.
This is going to sound odd. I mean, okay, both of these teams are 3 wins away from winning the Stanley Cup. But I think Dallas is playing with house money. I can't imagine too many people thought Dallas was going to be the team representing the Western Conference. Tampa Bay is supposed to win this. They had the historical season last year, coughed it up, swept by Columbus, make all the ads, get marooned, get tougher, mean, nasty attitude, come through the East. They're supposed to win this. And I know there's a lot on the line, but if there's such a thing, I think the pressure's really on Tampa Bay because they had a historical season last year and didn't get it done. Because you got to start looking at the window because they got to sign Sergachev. Are they going to be able to keep Cirelli? Stamkos, can't stay on the ice. They're going to have cap issues. I mean, Tampa Bay is like, we better do this. I mean, we're really good, but how long can we stay really good? I think the pressure is clearly on Tampa Bay.
Yeah, and I think, to draw a parallel to another sport, I think going into the baseball playoffs, the Dodgers are in the same spot. I mean, they've spent and spent and spent. They've lost in the World Series twice. It's literally World Series or bust for the Dodgers. And I think Tampa Bay is sort of in that same spot here. And you do wonder, as this series goes along, does that cause them to tighten up a little bit more?
Sure.
And as you said, look at unders or even look at Dallas to pull the shocker.
Absolutely. I mean, like they're out here talking Vegas. Oh, they couldn't score on Demko for a couple of games, and then they couldn't score against Hudobin. And it's like, and they're saying, well, Demko kind of got in his head and it bled into the next series. Sometimes these guys overthink, and when you think, you get yourself in trouble. We just talked about Chris Carson thinking.
So as we look at game 3 here specifically on Wednesday night, as I said, Tampa minus 155. Dallas now the home team in the Edmonton bubble, and that means that they get the last change, which could end up being, very fortuitous for them here, because they definitely don't want to fall behind 2-1, have to win, 3 out of 4 to wind up coming back and winning this series. So what do you think here about game 3? Is it Tampa Bay or is it Dallas?
I would give the last change if you're looking for a difference maker, especially the first time, because coaches will adjust once they know what other coaches do. Don't sleep on the importance of the last change, because we watched Bonas have really good success against Vegas. When he got the last change, he consistently was able to get Radulov and Ben out there against Vegas's fourth line. And that happened when he had the last change. So this is advantage Dallas because of the last change, but only because it's the first game with the last change where he's going to have the opportunity to really get the matchups he wants. So I would lean Dallas.
Well, I certainly encourage you to listen to more hockey thoughts on Brian's show, Vegas Hockey Hotline, which you can find if you follow him on Twitter at Brian Blessing. And make sure you subscribe to our ATS YouTube channel here. And, of course, listen to all of our editions of ATS.io Radio.